Today we're going to talk all about what happened in Edmonton's real estate market for the month of January. Hi, this is Melody Wilson with the Real Life team, powered by Real Broker, and I'm talking to you today about how our real estate market has started here in Edmonton, Alberta. Now I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, there's a lot of people actually moving from Ontario to Edmonton. We've also seen a lot of people from BC come over to Edmonton. And we're also starting to see investor money from Ontario. And what I mean by that is we're starting to see investors literally park their money here. They're not necessarily looking to move here, but they're looking to invest in our real estate market because their markets have gone absolutely bonkers. And it's actually affecting Edmonton local market, of course, because with the new bills, they're telling me that there's so many sales that are happening, they're actually at a standstill for production and sales. So what that means is that each salesperson and builder are putting limitations on how many properties they can actually sell a month, which is absolutely crazy. 2-3 years ago, they couldn't give away a house. Now they're limiting how many sales they're doing. So what kind of market are we sitting in for resale? We could be a seller's market or a balanced market or a buyer's market. Clearly, we're not in a buyer's market. That's when there is too much houses for sale and not enough buyers to buy. We're definitely in not enough properties to sell and tons of buyers looking to purchase, which puts us as a seller's market. Now, when you look at the statistics, it shows that we're sitting in a more of a balanced market for the month of January. And don't forget, that's all of single family homes all across the board. But I guarantee you the market is extremely, we call it hot. And the reason we call it hot is because the minute a property comes up for sale, it gets a ton of showings, it gets offers, possibly multiple offers, and then it's pending or sold. So that's what we mean by hot market. You don't really have a whole lot of time to think and make a decision. So what does listing absorption rate mean? So the amount of listings that we had in January, 36% of those properties have already sold. If you take a look at the average price, it's gone down slightly a little bit from last month, but it is still higher than it was last year. And let's talk a little bit about last year. January's real estate market in Edmonton last year at this time did not start off as busy. It was a lot busier than normal for sure last year, and we saw the market really pick up in February and March. However, this year, January started off even busier than it did last year. And what is that going to mean? It means that we're not even in spring market, and we're probably going to get even busier as the months go on. February, March, April, May tend to be even hotter months, and it's going to be really quick. Now, our weather here is actually kind of warm for Edmonton, and that will also affect real estate sales, people thinking about putting their house on the market, and just watching properties come up for sale and sold right away. So how many houses exactly sold in January last year? So single family homes sold last month was 576, and there were only 1,576 active listings. So we've had more sales for the month of January than we did last year and the month before that. And then in terms of the number of listings, we have less month over month and less year over year. So everything is just adding up to a very, very busy real estate market. So the average days on market in January was 52. It's slightly lower than it was last year at this time and a little bit higher than it was in December, but that's actually quite typical. If you take a look at the last 12 months, you'll see that in January typically is the slowest time to sell your home. However, it starts to get faster as the months progress. And 52 days is still pretty fast. And that's not even super accurate because we're taking into consideration any properties that might have been overpriced and were sitting on the market for 100 to 200 days. Plus you add the ones that literally go on the market and go sold within one day. You have to have all that balanced out and remember that when you're looking at these statistics. So no big surprise, again, 31% of sales in Edmonton were $300,000 to $400,000. And you can see why so many people in Ontario are moving back to Alberta or to Alberta because of the fact that the price points are so affordable. The next price point that had the most amount of sales was $400,000 to $500,000. This is no different year over year that we've seen. However, I am noticing obviously an increase in price and the average price in what you get for your home. So we're probably going to see more of a demand, I think, in the $400,000 to $500,000 in the coming months, and we'll see if the year ends up topping up that $400,000 to $500,000 actually might be more of the common price. So what does all this information mean to you as a seller here in Edmonton? Obviously, it is a great time to sell, but maybe you're thinking, where am I going to move to? If I want to find my next dream home, I don't want to have my house sold so quickly that I have no time to find a place and there's nothing even coming for sale. That's why it's really important to talk to a professional like me, to have a consultation, to figure out what exactly it is that you want, figure out the strategy of, where you're moving to, how readily available are properties, and also in terms of the demand on your property. There may not be the same demand on your property depending on the area, the condition. There's so many different factors involved. You got to make sure that even though the market is selling quickly, why on earth would you hire a professional realtor? You still want it to be marketed to the maximum, priced properly to get even more, and making sure you get the best price for your home, and also being able to manage all of the showings that are happening. If you're trying to do this on your own and trying to do a job as well, it would be very time consuming and it'd be very difficult to know if you really did get the best price for your home. Now, if you're looking to purchase a home, I want to warn you as a buyer, please go get a pre-approval. We do not have time to waste. That is the theme. You've got to be able to move quickly, and so you've got to make sure all your ducks are in a row, which include your pre-approval. And then you also have to be ready mentally to make an offer quite quickly. So make sure to educate yourself on the market, and that's where myself comes into play to let you know what has been sold, so you have an understanding of the price points and also what kind of properties make sense to move quickly on, and ones that maybe you just wait and keep looking for a better fit for your family.